Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Georgios Bakas. On behalf of the CMS collaboration, I'm here to present you the top quark pair and single top differential cross-sections in CMS for the 40th International Conference on General Physics. So, starting, this is an outline of the presentation. First of all, we will look into the top pair production measurements. More specifically, we will present a single differential top quark cross-section measurements for high-PV jets. Also, we will present normalized multi-differential cross-section measurements from the triple differential cross-sections. We will present the calculations of the strong coupling strength, the top quark pole mass, and the pattern distribution functions. As for the single top production, the differential cross-sections for both the T-channel and the W mode will be presented. Also, for the T-channel measurements, the charge ratios and spin asymmetries are illustrated and calculated. So, first of all, let's take a look at CMS at the LHC Full Run 2 that started 2015 and 2018. During Run 2, Full Run 2, LHC produced unprecedented event samples, almost 10 to the 16th proton-proton collision center of mass of 13 TeV energy were produced. And during this period, the total integrated luminosity was found to be almost 163 inverse femtobarn. You can see on the top right corner the comparison between the LHC and the CMS detector recorded luminosity. Also, almost 300 million, maybe less, top quarks were produced during this period, making, as one could say, top LHC a top factory. And on average, almost 34 interactions per bunch of crossing, as you can see on the bottom right corner. Now, the vast amount of data enables broad physics that can firstly probe standard processes of calculations with high precision, detect parallel processes, and explore a vast kinematic phase space. Now, let's go to, one could argue, why are the differential measurements of the top quark and properties so important in high energy physics? So, detailed studies of the characteristics of the top quark pair production as a function of different kinematic variables can now be performed at LHC, provide a unique opportunity to test the standard model at the TeV scale. Furthermore, any extensions to the standard model may modify this TeV differential cross-sections in ways that the inclusive cross-sections measurement are not sensitive to. In particular, such effects can enhance the sensitivity to possible beyond standard model effects, and a precise measurement of the TeV differential cross-section has the potential to enhance the sensitivity and as well as to challenge the theoretical predictions that now reach the NNLO accuracy in perturbative QCD. Moreover, the differential distributions are sensitive to the differences between Monte Carlo generators and their settings, representing a valuable input to the tuning of the Monte Carlo parameters. We'll start by looking into the top quark pair measurements. The first analysis we'll look into probes the all hadronic decay channel, where both W bosons decay into quarks hadronically for high-PV jets. When jets are boosted, they have high PT over almost 400 GeV. The decay products are collimated, as shown in the cartoon you see on the right. The selection here is based on the construction of a neural network that discriminates signal from background using jet substructure properties. Our motivation here is to explore the kinematic region beyond the reach of the resolved analysis. And as for the measurements, we measure both absolute and normalized differential cross-sections at parton and particle levels with respect to top and top pair kinematic variables. On the top, you can see some of the results of this analysis for the normalized differential cross-sections at parton level. Starting from the left, you have the leading jet PT, and on the middle, you have the leading jet absolute rapidity, and on the right, you have the mass of the TT pair. In general, the results are compatible with theory, and there is no PT slope. And it's worth mentioning that there is an overall shift of order of 35% in the total cross-section. The same analysis probes the lepton class jets channel for high-PV jets, in which one W boson decays into a lepton and a neutrino, and the other decays hadronically into two quarks. The selection here is based on top quark and B quark jet categories to distinguish signals from background. For the measurements, we measure both absolute and normalized differential cross-sections of both particle and particle levels as before in the hadronic channel. And the results are presented here both in parton and particle levels for the normalized differential cross-sections. On the bottom left, you have the partner results as a function of the top quark PD and absolute probability. And on the right side of the slide, you have the particle results as a function of the top quark PD and the absolute probability on the bottom. In general, the results differential distributions are well described, but all models overpredict the absolute cross-section for almost 20%. And move on to the top pair multi-differential cross-sections. In this analysis, both the double and triple normalized differential TD bar cross-sections are measured in the dilepton channel using 2016 CMS data. The selection in this analysis requires two opposite charged leptons, two jets, which at least one must be B-type. The motivation here comes that we have, from the TD bar cross-sections, we can use them, especially the 3D TD bar cross-sections, to extract the PDS and constrain high X gluons, whereas we also can constrain fundamental standard model parameters such as the signal strength, the strong coupling strength, and the top quark pole mass. A quantitative comparison to several Monte Carlo predictions is presented at parton level, where data can reveal trends and can distinguish between predictions. For the triple differential cross-section specifically, their calculation constrains strong coupling strength, top quark pole mass, and parton distribution functions. Up to this date, this is the most precise result for the top quark pole mass, and also we extract simultaneously the strong self-coupling strength and the empty pole mass from a simultaneous feed. On top part of the slide, we illustrate the results of the double differential cross-sections. On the left, we have a distribution of the absolute TT bar rapidity in different TT bar mass ranges. The shapes are well described in general, except for the largest MTD bar range, which is the last bin that you see on the top left plot. On the top right, you have the comparison of the distributions of the PDDT bar and the same MTD bar ranges to the theoretical predictions. This distribution is sensitive to gluon radiation. All models describe data well within uncertainties, except for the MT5 plus Pythia, which predicts PDDT bar distribution in the last MTD bar being that it's too hard. Moving on to the results for the triple differential cross-sections. So we have on the top left plot the illustration of the triple differential normalized cross-section at parton level as a function of the absolute TT bar rapidity in different MTD bar ranges and NJet ranges, which is measured using two bins. We have 0 jets and at least 1 jet. And on the bottom left plot, we have the illustration of the triple differential normalized cross-sections at parton level as a function of the absolute TT bar rapidity in different MTD bar ranges again, but now the NJet ranges are measured using 3 bins. You have 0 jets, exactly 1 jet, and at least 1 jet. For this measurement only, the Polhoek plus Pythia is in satisfactory agreement with the data. Polhoek plus Herwig predicts too high of a cross-section for a number of jets more than 1, while the MT5 plus Pythia provides too worse description of the MTD bar distributions for exactly 1 jet. Whereas for the top left plot, we can say that all Monte Carlos describe the data well. So on the top right table now, you have the high squared values of and degrees of freedom of the measured cross-sections with respect to the predictions of various Monte Carlo generators. And on the bottom right, you have the illustration of the p-values that correspond to the obtained high squared values. From these values, one can conclude that none of the central predictions of the considered Monte Carlo generators is able to provide predictions that correctly describe all distributions. The best agreement with data is probably provided by Polhoek plus Pythia and Polhoek plus Herwig, with the first better describing the measurements that are probing number of jets and radiations, and the latter describing the ones involving probes of the PD distribution. We now continue with the extraction of the strong coupling strength and the top quark pole mass from the triple cross-sections of the absolute TT bar rapidity in different MTD bar ranges and the NJets in 2 bins. To extract the strong coupling strength and the top quark pole mass, the measured triple differential cross-sections are compared to fixed next to leading order predictions, and the measured cross-sections are compared to analog predictions obtained using different PDF sets, top quark pole mass, or strong coupling strength values. In the top left figure, you have the triple differential cross-sections that are compared to predictions that are obtained using different values of the top quark pole mass, as you can see, with black, blue, and red, whereas in the bottom left figure you have the triple differential cross-sections compared to the predictions obtained using different values of the strong coupling strength. So the values of the strong coupling strength and the top quark pole mass are extracted by calculating a chi-squared between data and the NLO predictions as a function of the input strong coupling strength or the top quark pole mass, and approximating this dependence with a parabola. The minimum of this parabola is taken to be the extracted strong coupling strength or top quark pole mass respectively. Now, the extracted at NLO values are compared on the right to the world average. On the top right, you have the extracted strong coupling strength, for which we use the top quark pole mass value of 172.5 GeV. The extraction allows a precise determination of the strong coupling strength, and as you can see, there's a significant dependence on the PDF we're using. Whereas on the bottom right, you have the extracted top quark pole mass, for which we use the strong coupling strength that's obtained from each PDF set. The extraction here allows precise determination of the empty pole mass, and unlike the strong coupling strength, there is no dependence on the PDF set. We move on. We know that from the triple differential normalized cross-sections, from the n-jet at least exactly 0 and at least 1, the empty bar and YDD bar differential cross-sections that are used. These are used in a simultaneous PDF strong coupling strength and top quark pole mass fit at NLO, together with combined Hera-inclusive deep inelastic scattering data. On this slide, we present the PDFs with their total uncertainties that are obtained from a simultaneous fit on the PDF strong coupling strength and top quark pole mass, as stated before, using the Hera distribution this data and Hera this data plus the bar data as a function of phi, where phi is the fraction of the proton momentum carried by a particle. In general, we can see reduced gluon uncertainty at high and smaller impact on other distribution via correlations in the fit. This brings me to the end of the top TT bar pair differential cross-sections, and we move on with a single top quark differential cross-section measurements. The first analysis we'll look into studies top quark in the T channel. More specifically, the selection consists of events containing single muons or electrons and 2 or 3 jets. As for the measurement, both absolute and normalized differential cross-sections at parton and particle level are calculated with respect to top quark PT, rapidity, and polarization angle, as well as with respect to the charge lepton PT and rapidity and the W boson PT from the top quark decay. It's worth mentioning here that unlike the TT bar productions, the top quarks in the T channel are highly polarized due to the vector axial vector coupling structure. So on the two top plots on the left, you have the parton level absolute cross-sections that are illustrated as a function of the top quark PT and the cosine of the polarization angle. And on the right plots, you have the particle level absolute cross-sections, which are illustrated as a function of the top quark PT and the cosine of the polarization angle. In general, there is also an agreement with predictions using various NLO generators and various sets of PDFs. The same analysis also presents the charge ratios as a function of the several observables both in parton and particle levels. We can define charge ratio as the ratio of the single top cross-section to the sum of the single top quark and anti-quark cross-sections. We measure it differentially. Yes, thank you. We measure it differentially as a function of the top quark, the charge lepton, and the W boson kinematic observables. Specifically here, we have it as a function of the absolute top quark rapidity and the W boson PT at parton level and particle level on top left and on the right side of the slide. A general comment for the results is that in general the shapes are compatible with theory. Here we illustrate the calculation of the spin asymmetry for the single top in the T channel that are extracted using the polarization angle distributions. The spin asymmetry is sensitive to top quark polarization, and it is determined from the differential distribution of the polarization angle at parton level. So the spin asymmetry is measured in 3 channels: the muon, the electron, and the combined muon plus electron channel. You can see that all of these calculations within total uncertainty are compatible with the predicted value of 0.436 that's found using the Powell plus at NLO, which has an eligible uncertainty. And this table illustrates a breakdown of the systematic uncertainties minor systematics such as pileup have been grouped into the others category. We move on to the single top measurement in the TW mode. This analysis measures the single top differential cross-sections in the TW mode. The main challenge of this analysis is that background dominates signal, with TT bar being the largest. The signal extraction is performed by subtracting the background contribution, which is estimated through Monte Carlo simulation. Both absolute and normalized differential cross-sections are measured at particle level with respect to several variables such as the PD of both the lepton and the jet, delta phi of the two leptons, the invariant mass of the two leptons in the jet, the transfer mass of the whole system, the two leptons, the jet, and the missing energy, and the longitudinal component of the formed two leptons and jet system. On top, we present the normalized differential cross-sections at particle level as a function of the leading lepton PT and the jet PT. As a general comment, one could say that there is fair agreement within the uncertainties with all used Monte Carlo predictions. In this slide, we saw the normalized differential cross-sections at particle level. On the top left, you have the normalized differential cross-section as a function of the delta phi of the opposite charged leptons, whereas on the top right, you have it as a function of the invariant mass of the opposite charged leptons and the jet. On the bottom left, you have the longitudinal system formed by the opposite charged leptons and the jet, and on the bottom right, you have the differential cross-sections at particle level with respect to the transfer mass formed from the opposite charged lepton, the missing energy, and the associated jet. In general, there is good agreement in data and simulation, and we can say that the dominant uncertainties here come from the jet energy scale and jet energy resolution, which have a large effect in the background estimation. This brings me to my summary and outlook. We have presented the single differential TT bar cross-sections both in hadronic and lepton plus jets channels using the 2016 CMS data with high PT jets. Here we can say that all measurements are consistent with the standard model expectation, with an overall shift of the order of 35% in the hadronic channel and 20% in the lepton plus jets channel. As for the multi-differential TT bar cross-sections, in the dilepton channel, we're in the dilepton channel using 2016 CMS data, and especially for the triple differential cross-sections, is the first extraction of such kind using TT bar differential cross-sections. It's the most precise result of the extrapolation of the top quark pole mass up to this date, and we extract both strong coupling strength and the top quark pole mass simultaneously. As for the differential single top quark cross-sections, the TW process using 2016 CMS data, we measure differential cross-sections both absolute and normalized at particle level, and we have presented also the results in the T-channel process using 2016 CMS data, where we present normalized and absolute differential cross-sections at particle levels, and from that we calculate the top quark spin asymmetry in the both electron muon and the combined channel that's estimated from the differential cross-section at the parton level from the polarization angle distribution. Stay tuned for most CMS results. That was it. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Georgios.